Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about Soundhound AI, SOUN. It was up over 20%. Now it's a little bit down. It's pulling back. That's going to be expected. People are going to take profits. But the future is Soundhound. The future is in AI stocks. And I'm going to go over why that is. You'll see here AI reports 73% Q1 revenue growth to 11.6 million. First quarter closes with 226 million in cash. Company raises full year revenue outlook. Now let me pull up the Soundhound Trading View financials here for a second. Let's pull up the balance sheet. Let's look at the total liabilities to assets ratio. Looking good so far. As long as they don't have more liabilities than assets, we're good. Debt, not a big deal. And then if we switch to the income statement, you'll notice if we switch to the annual, there has been an increase, about 50% increase in total revenue every year. Starting with 2021, 21.20 million in total revenue, followed by 31.13 million in 2023, and that is then followed by 45.87 million in 2023. It keeps increasing 50%, 50%. Imagine running a hot dog cart and 1 year you make a million, next year 2 million, 4 million, 8 million. I mean, that is incredible. But in this case, it's only increasing by about 50%. It's not doubling every year. That would be great, but it's not Nvidia. But it's better than a hot dog stand that sells hot dogs at $1.50, but it costs them $2 to make. Which, for those of you who can't do the math, they're selling hot dogs at a 50-cent loss, essentially, per dog. That's not good business. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because their cost of goods sold, it's always important to keep an eye on cost of goods sold. You don't want a company that makes 20 million in revenue, but their cost of goods sold is 40 million. You can't be selling hot dogs for $1, even though it costs you $2 to produce that hot dog. So thankfully, that's not the case. The cost of goods sold is pretty much a third of the total revenue, so we're sitting good and pretty with the cost of goods sold. I don't think we have much else to add here. It's working towards profitability here with the net income at negative 88.94 million, which is a decrease from negative 116.71 million. So we should see that number going down is also a big deal, but probably the biggest thing is making sure that the cost of goods sold ain't too big and the revenue continues to grow. Who does not like a company that continues to grow over the long term? So keep an eye on that. I think this will be worth more than $10 in my opinion. I'm not an analyst. I'm not some guy with a finance degree or any kind of a degree like that. No, nothing crazy. I'm just a guy that looks at the PRs, looks at the financials, looks at the good, the bad, the ugly, the dilution. Yes, there has been dilution, and I'm sure there will continue to be dilution. Companies don't go public to not raise money. So that's just, as long as they're not diluting like crazy and absolutely screwing shareholders like Mullen stock does. But the company did raise full year revenue outlook. Let's go through the report here. Our first quarter sets the tone for 2024 as another year of strong growth for Soundhound Voice AI, fast becoming a must-have tool for restaurants, customer service, and that is reflected in our demand for our Soundhound AI technology through subscriptions. And yes, I get that they're in automotive and restaurants and all that, but think about this for a second. Think about this for a second, okay? Back then, not too long ago, people genuinely thought we would never be able to get on these things called planes and travel around the world. Wilbur Wright proved everyone wrong. Wilbur Wright, I think it was Wilbur Wright. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe my English history is messed up, but I'm pretty sure Wilbur Wright is the one that invented the ability to get on a craft and fly around. See, stuff like that used to be fantasy. People used to think that was like that would never happen. That didn't say we're not birds with wings. We can't flap around and fly. But it did happen eventually. Sure, we're not flapping around, but we can get on a craft and it can take us places in the air. And so the point I'm trying to make is what seems insane right now is going to be the future, and I don't know if we'll be alive for it. Unfortunately, as much as I hate to say that, unfortunately we won't know if we'll be alive. People say this is the best time to be alive. I disagree. It's a good time to be alive, but not the best, because I think in the future we will be in a world where robots are everywhere and they do everything, and it's going to be a different time. And I can't even look. You got to have the foresight, and you have to look into the future and what is possible. We will need a way to communicate, not just with the robots, but they have to also communicate with us as well. And so people make fun of the fact that they work with restaurants and the automotive industry, but I think eventually they will expand into other sectors, businesses, and robots are going to be everywhere. And I know some of you are shaking your head like, "Yeah, right. You're crazy. What are you smoking? Let me get a hit. Let me get a hit of that bong, because whatever you're smoking is it must be pretty damn good." But I'm sure a lot of people said Wilbur Wright was smoking, and then he proved everyone wrong. And I think this is the future. This is not a speculative stock. There's no speculation to be made. There's no speculation. I think Nvidia invested in this because it sees what I see. There's so much potential in this, and robots will be the future. There's already little robots that walk around. I think they're toy robots. I think Vector AI. I think that's one of them. Let me see if I can pull up an image. Oh wait, no, Vector AI robot. There it is. There's the robot. See, there's these little toy robots, but that's just it's in its infancy. You gotta think bigger. You gotta think Star Wars, but without the lasers. Let's not get too crazy, right? But maybe though, you never know. We might have laser sabers one day, and you'll be able to deflect laser ammunition, I guess. Okay, now I'm just getting crazy. But strong cash balance of 226 million at the end of the first quarter. Our business momentum continues to accelerate with a growing pipeline across all businesses. That includes customer